Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I think I might have fixed my audio issues. I'm not sure, but I think the audio might be fixed. So you might be able to actually hear my voice. I am not sure what it was, but I have a feeling that last time when we did this, it was tied to my lamp for some reason. Hold up, I gotta swap to something that is more appropriate for the stream, you know. I'm gonna use a public Kenny model. If it allows me to change out of this Benui. Yes, it does. Alright, hold up, give me a sec.
Get this AI shit out of here. Buzz off.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Alright. Let's do a little funny thingy. And where is it? Pink! And then oh, holy crap, why are we so small? Pink! Hi! Good morning! Ooh, I need to do this as well. Pink, 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 pink. Life is good. Alright. Let's grab a little thingamajiggy. Close that. Let's grab the red marker. Alright. So I think that the audio is fixed. Let me test this out real quick again. I'm going to open this up. I'm actually going to turn that off for a second. You will hear my voice double. That is intended at the moment, so don't be afraid. That is intended at the moment. Yes. Okay. Audio is fixed. So what happened basically? So when I have my setup, I'm gonna draw it again the way that I had it last time. So let's start with. Let's do this real quick. Like I have the monitor right there, and underneath that there's like the little camera doodad. Let's put that like there, which has a little. It has the little leggies. Then of course the monitor itself goes like that, and it's on like this big shelf. That's why I basically have it on, and then usually I'm like right there, and I'm just like a little dude there, and just like let's put a little top hat for some reason and be like, yay! So this is what my setup looked like before, and it would go even further because I have the desk here, and it would go up, and you know it has the other shelves and blah blah blah. There's more stuff up there. I had a lamp that was attached right here. Let's draw the cable. It goes like somewhere down there. And this lamp is like super old. It's one of those ones that you can just, you know, kind of move around and stuff. And anytime I turned this lamp on, it would cause randomly my screen. It wasn't every time that it happened. It was randomly. And only when I turned it on, for this monitor, for some reason it started flickering. Well, it didn't flicker, it turned off and then back on. I do not understand why it did that, so I angled it away, like that way, turned it on when it was there, it would still do it. One time, I encountered a different kind of thing. My microphone was affected by it. And it caused a loud as fuck buzzing sound to come out of it when I turned this on, while I was hanging around in VR chat. And despite getting me better tracking and everything else, so, you know, my hand doesn't randomly just, like, die, which, weirdly enough, these are now currently working just fine. Why are they working fine? Huh? It's one of those days where it just works perfectly, I guess, today? Maybe? Up! Hold up. Is it going to disappear if I do it like that? Why is it working perfectly now? Is there enough light coming from somewhere? I don't know. But, basically, I had perfect tracking and everything else. It would track everything perfectly, no matter what, when I had the light on. But I started noticing these issues, and last time when we had one of these horror streams, for some weird reason, even though Streamlabs showed that my audio was working, my voice was coming through and everything, apparently my voice was not coming through. Thank you to Riku for helping me out with that, Moe Riku. And I diagnosed it a tiny bit. All I had to do was, in my OBS, which, let's draw the OBS thingamajiggy. Like, let's put, like, here. We have, like, everything, like, there's the freaking, like, there's the, like, everything that's happening. Chat is, like, right here. Let's do, like, the blah, 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 blah. And let's draw a little stick dude here again, just, like, and all the audio stuff is, like, right here. In that box. Then you have, like, the scenes and stuff are there. In the scene box, not scene box, audio box, I just swapped my microphone a tiny bit. I just swapped it to being default and then back to voice meter, and it just worked. It just worked. It fucking worked. I don't know why, but just doing that itself was enough to fix it. But it was showing in the bar that I was actually emitting sound. It was causing sound. Everything was coming through normally. But I was yapping for about, what, 5 to 10 minutes? Mickey Mouse. It's a public Kenny model. This is a public model. I decided to use that instead of my Kururu. Because she's a big Benui. And being a big Benui is kind of... Yeah. I'd rather not. So I'd rather be mouse. Plus I could be horrified. Where's the horrified face? Ah! I gotta remember these. So, like, holding Shift F6 is like, blip. And then you can be, ah! Then you can be like, smug. Happy. Calm. Happy. Smug again. Ah, see? There it goes. There it goes. The hand. So, unfortunately, I need to find, like, what are those weird ring light thingamajiggies that I can use, because I don't think it uses that much power when it's turned on, as opposed to that old-ass lamp, because that old lamp... Okay, so, with the old lamp, that fucking power cable, that power fucking thing, let's draw, like, the power strip, like, right here. Like, let's say that's the power strip. It goes somewhere. Normally, you have, like, those little cables, those, little power doodads that are, like, let's say, that sized. That's what the normal things are. That lamp, that power was one of these big boys with one of the big plugs. And then it had a thick cable. Basically, it had a whole fucking power generator right the fuck there. And it's old as shit. So I have a feeling it's just so old and it uses so much energy when it's turned on that it causes all the other electronics to basically have a fucking seizure. Which wouldn't surprise me. So I'm thinking of getting like a little ring light. Because if it has one of those small plugs, I can just plug it into the other one that I have right next to me, which still has one free slot. So I could use that for getting better tracking and stuff. I think it might actually help. And I need to figure out if I need to shine it onto the camera or me. Yeah, it seems that everything is coming through normally. So, crunch, crunch, and let's get going. Zombies has invited us to the room. So let's go. Bink. Yeah, let's go. Here's some scary, spooky stories, Zufo. Woo! I'm gonna try and find a good male model to use on stream at some point that isn't, you know, horrendous. But I also like this model purely because it has the perfect Gogo logo for desktop and half-body users. Is three spoopy for me back to look at this? Yes. Yep. And I can basically sit down with cross legs, or in a weird, funny way. Yeah. Doo-doo. Ooh.
Hello, friends. And welcome back. It's time to get spooky.
Did they update this place?
They did.
Oh, hold on. Enable bakeries. What is bakeries Monash? Okay. How many advertisements do they have?
They have a lot. You can turn off the Patreon wall, thankfully.
Bink. All right. AO post processing. What is that?
I don't know. It's nicer though.
Yeah, I see that.
Ambient occlusion.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, yeah. Thunderstone, thunder lighting, joint notification, video player, furniture glider, blah blah blah. Body. There's a body pillow.
Don't ask. I don't know where it is.
I see it.
I turned it off as soon as I got here.
It's right there. It's the
Fear.
one where you can put yourself into it.
I hate that a lot.
It's that funny little asset. Bink.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Midnight Zone.
Yippee! I'm gonna be right on sit right here.
Oh shit!
Oh,
A
shit.
rat.
A rat! Whoa! Third person mode, baby!
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Wait, hold on.
Alright.
Wait. What was it?
Couch.
Which button is it? Hold on. Rear view? 4? Ah! Oh my god, it goes so far.
Yes.
I can't. I can't use that. All right. Sit here. Because this actually looks nicer.
Gang. Yes. We're gonna be reading some top-notch scary shit today, boy. So we're starting off with room 733, and then we're gonna fucking jam in a bunch of short, scary stories by the author Empty Real Invective, who is the person who wrote things like Fleshgate, and then It Breathes, It Bleeds, It Breeds. They've got like a lot of really good shit, so I'm really excited to read their stuff.
Hell yeah. I just have to say that
Now-
there might be a moment where I have to step away for a little bit, but I'll just fucking, like, stop quickly, because the inspectors are supposed to come in and just check, well, like, all the fucking pipes are going, basically, in the apartments. So they might or might not
Okay,
show
fair
up
enough.
today.
Okay, fair enough. And I do apologize, chat. I'm a little extra sniffly today. I was having some fucking respiratory issues all yesterday, but I'm fine. Alright.
Don't worry about that.
Alright, gang. Funny little tidbit before we start. The fucking video that was playing here, because it wasn't long enough to warrant just leaving it on. It was another Silent Hill video. It was the exact fucking same video that you sent me not too long ago, Sleep. The exact same one.
Hell
And I would
yeah.
have loved to play, but it was only an hour. It was only an hour and 30 minutes. I found this one. It's 5 hours of Silent Hill ambience.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes. All right. Without further to do, let's get into this fucking story.
Let's get
This is
spoopy.
room 733. Room 733. The suicide room. That's what they called it. As if I didn't have enough to worry about on my first day as a freshman. We had been assigned to dorm room. Blech, Jesus. We had been assigned to dorm room 734, which it turns out wasn't one of the nice add-on rooms in the South Hall. No, we found ourselves in the older wing of the building on the 7th floor. I wasn't too bummed out, though. At least they'd honor my request to room with my best friend. Lydia and I had spent most of the morning moving ourselves in. By the time our resident advisor came up, I was busy taping posters to the wall and Lydia was reading. "Hi, girls! I'm Beth!" chirped the bubbly blonde girl as she bounded into our room.
I'll be your RA this year.
"Hi," I nodded to her.
Wow, you girls really work fast.
She said, taking in our made beds and hung up clothes. Beth picked up a drawing of Cthulhu that Lydia had done over the summer. She turned it sideways, studying it.
Is this like the Kraken from Pirates of the Caribbean or something?
Lydia glared over the top of her book.
So anyway,
The Ari continued.
I know our hall isn't as new as the South Hall, but trust me, there's a lot of history here. This building is almost 60 years old.
Yes, I can see that, I said, looking around. The rooms are pretty small. Well, people were smaller in the 50s, Beth shrugged.
Really?
Lydia said flatly. That's what you're going with?
Yep, really?
Beth pursed her lips and just continued to stand there while the room filled with an awkward silence. So, I said, the corner room next to us, 733, is it? It looks a lot bigger than our room. Is anyone assigned to that room, or maybe we could...
Oh, you don't want that room.
Beth interrupted.
There were a couple suicides in there, hanging in a jumper, if I remember right. They're not assigning anyone to that room. Anyway, I'd like to just remind you that this is an all-girls floor and guys are not allowed up here after 11.
Before we could reply to her, Beth clapped her hands, and with a quick,
Well, it was nice meeting you.
she skipped out of the room. Lydia dropped her book on the bed and stared out into the hall.
I hate her.
Did you hear that bomb she fucking dropped? I'm gonna call her dumb shit Beth.
Oh, Lydia, seriously? Suicides? Oh, Becca, relax. Every college campus has a few suicides.
Yeah, but in the same room? Lydia sighed.
Really, who cares? It's not our room.
Yeah, I guess. I turned to study the little window in our room. Can you imagine climbing out of that tiny ass window and actually jumping? You'd be alive for at least 5 seconds before you hit the ground.
Oh, fuck. Becca, can you not?
Lydia glanced at the window and visibly shuddered.
You know I fucking hate heights.
Just talking about that shit is raising my fucking blood pressure. We could always move into the suicide room, I teased her. That one has a window on each wall.
Fuck you.
Okay. But seriously, think about it. Take a lot of commitment to squeeze out of that tiny window.
Yeah, well, remember, people are apparently smaller back then.
Lydia mumbled as she pushed her bed further away from the window. Since Lydia was an outgoing and friendly person, we made friends at lightning speed. There were a lot of parties in those few weeks, one of which Lydia inevitably met a guy. I'd known the girl since we were in diapers, so I fully anticipated her having a boyfriend by the end of September. His name was Mike, and he wasn't really anything special. Just your standard frat pledge douche canoe. After about a month on campus, the novelty of college started wearing off. Lydia and I found our stride, and we spent more weekends studying than drinking. Midterms were coming up in a couple of weeks, and I was determined to maintain a 4.0 GPA throughout my entire freshman year. One night, in early October, I was woken up by a loud, grinding sound. I sat up in bed and strained to hear it again. Lydia was also wide awake and listening.
What the fuck?
She mouthed to me. It wasn't unusual for there to be noise in the hallways, since other people came in at all hours of the night, but this sound had definitely come from the next door over the corner. Is that?
Yeah,
Lydia whispered.
that's the window opening in our next room.
At Lydia's insistence, we kept our window closed at all times. However, there was no mistaking the sound of the window in room 733 opening and being closed again at regular intervals.
Who's in there?
Lydia shrugged. Is someone fucking with us? Is this like initiation? Lydia raised her eyebrow at me.
Initiation to what?
I don't know, college? Maybe they're hazing the freshmen? Who is hazing freshmen? I shrugged.
I love you, but that was fucking stupid. Well, whatever it is, go release me. Jesus Christ. See, the demons are trying to get me, bro.
It's the room.
It's the room. The room is full of demons. I threw a pillow at her. Well, whoever it is, go tell them to knock it the fuck off. I need to sleep. Me? I'm not risking being thrown out of a fucking window. The window opened. Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm an art major. You're a political science major. You go lay down the law. I'm not doing that. Fuck off. Then call dumb shit Beth. Isn't this the kind of nonsense she should deal with? I'm not calling her. Don't you put that evil on me? Fine, Lydia whispered loudly. Then we'll just have to ignore it. I have class at 7:30, I whispered. Then do something. Ugh. I got out of bed and stomped to the door, threw it open dramatically, and went down the hall to pound on the door to room 733, which simply said, supply room. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, people are trying to sleep. Please fucking stop. There was no answer. Dude, seriously. I stepped back from the door and I immediately noticed the problem. Room 733 was padlocked shut from the outside. Feeling a wave of cold pester in my body, I hurried back into my room. What happened? Lydia asked. I am not going anywhere near that fucking room again. It's locked from the outside. I don't know how anybody could get in there. Oh, so you're saying it's a spooky ghost? No, I'm saying there is creepy shit going on inside the room, colloquially called the fucking suicide room. Lydia scoffed and rolled
Hello,
over
relative.
to go back to sleep.
It's the first story. You're not missing out too much.
Major. We didn't hear the window next door open again that night, but the next morning you could clearly see from the outside that both windows in the corner room were now wide open. I watched the windows on room 733 for an entire week, but they remained open. Occasionally, at night, I thought I could hear a noise next door like marbles dropping and rolling across the floor. Since it never woke Lydia up, I didn't bother saying anything. One afternoon, I was alone in the dorm editing notes on my laptop. I had my headphones in, but the music wasn't loud enough to cover the noise of someone knocking on the door. Come in, I said without looking up from the screen. A moment went by, and then I heard the knocking again. I jerked my earbuds out and slammed the laptop closed. Turned around. Come... the fuck? The door to the hallway was wide open. I'd left it open on purpose since Ian, a junior I was dating, was supposed to be stopping by. I heard the knocking again from behind me and literally jumped out of my chair. It had come from the other side of the room, the closet door. It was the closet that shared a wall with room 733. Lydia, you're not fucking funny. Nothing. Lydia, I swear to God, I will punch you right in the fucking face. Silence. I walked over to the closet door and grasped the handle. Lydia, you're a fucking what? Her voice came from the doorway, just behind me. I let go of the doorknob and stumbled back, wide-eyed. Lydia threw her stuff onto the bed and turned to me, crossing her arms. I'm a fucking what? What am I, huh? I thought you were hiding in the closet, I said, lamely. What? Why? Because I just heard someone knocking on the door. Jesus, Becca. Lydia rubbed her forehead and walked over to the closet, throwing open the door. There's nothing in there but clothes and boxes. She made a swipe of her arm as if to say, what now? Look, Lydia, I fucking swear, Becca, there's no one here. I know what I heard. We glared at each other until our little standoff was interrupted by the timely arrival of Ian. He immediately sensed the tension in the room. Hi, ladies. What's new? I gave my roommate a hostile look. There is strange shit going on in the room next door, but that's not new. Oh, which room? 735 or the empty one? The empty one, Lydia emphasized. 733. Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's the suicide room. Right, we heard about the deaths. I sat down on my bed and crossed my legs, just trying to fucking shake off this weird tension. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. 3 suicides, all in one dorm room. 3? Lydia raised her eyebrow. We were told there were only 2. Well, there were a couple people in the 70s, and then some guy about 10 years ago. He jumped out of the window. Dia and I both shuddered. Although she was much worse, we were both terrified of heights. A falling death was about the worst thing I could think of right now. Yeah, I will admit that 3 suicides in the same dorm room is fucking disturbing, Lydia said in an apologetic tone. Yeah, I heard there was something in that room, Ian said. Like what? No one knows. But every year, somebody has a new theory. Usually right around Halloween, something gets published in the campus paper. Whatever is in there, though it ain't friendly. So, has anyone ever killed themselves in the neighboring rooms? Like this one? Nope. Just 733. Honestly, I was surprised when I heard they were opening the North Hall this year. They told us we were the biggest incoming freshman class in 20 years, I said absentmindedly. Yeah, I heard that too. You know, you could request a room change. Ian sat down on the bed next to me and I leaned against his shoulder. Yeah, but they wouldn't keep us together, Lydia cut in. Becca and I have been best friends for 15 years. Can't room with other people. So, we should just keep living here? Next to Satan? I glanced at the closet door again. Lydia shrugged. At least we'll have some stories to tell after graduation. These aren't the kind of stories I want to tell. A few days later, Lydia began to believe my closet story. I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of someone whispering. I looked over at Lydia, who was staring at me with wide eyes as she slowly brought a finger to her lips. I listened intently, trying to hear what the voice was saying and where it was coming from, but I couldn't understand even one word. I got out of bed and tipped over to Lydia's. The whispering was definitely louder over there, but then she shared a wall with room 733. I listened harder. Deacon, mouths, fools. The fuck? Lydia leaned over and put her ear up to the wall. The whisper suddenly stopped, and I leaned closer. Suddenly, there was a loud bang from the other side. Lydia immediately recoiled and clutched her ear in pain. There was definitely someone in there. Suddenly more angry than scared, I again threw open our door and stomped over to the supposedly empty supply room. I banged on the door loudly, not caring who else I woke up at this point. Dun, 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 dun. Are you fucking kidding me? I yelled at the door. This shit isn't fucking funny anymore! Come out of that goddamn room, you fucking asshole! Silence. And then the doorknob started to turn. I don't know what I expected to happen, but it sure as hell was not that. I backed up so far from the door that I ran into the opposite wall. When the handle had turned all the way down, something started to push from the other side. The door groaned loudly, but the locks held.
held my breath until the pressure on the door subsided and the handle slowly returned to its normal position. I noticed Lydia peeking her head out of our room. She held up her hands as if to say, "What happened?" "Someone thinks they're funny," I answered her out loud. She shook her head and disappeared back into our room. I knelt down on the floor and brought my head down to the carpet, peering under the door crack, trying to get a glimpse at whatever the hell was in there. It was the first time I had seen into the corner room, so I was not exactly anticipating whatever the hell was in there. Room 733 was definitely a supply closet. There were chairs stacked along one wall and bed frames along another. A few disgusting, rotting mattresses were piled under one of the windows, and a thick layer of dust covered everything in the room. The windows were absolutely huge, which was something you couldn't really tell just by looking up at the building. They were open as always, and I could definitely see how someone could easily climb through them to the outside ledge. The room didn't look like it had been disturbed in a couple of decades, which sent a shudder cracking through my body. The moonlight, which had been providing enough light to see into the room, suddenly vanished, and I only saw pitch black inside. I blinked rapidly, trying to adjust my night vision. I squeezed my eyes shut and then opened them. A large yellow eye was looking back at me, only a few inches from my face on the other side of the door. I screamed, and I ended up waking up half the dorm. There was no denying that things were escalating. The next morning, Lydia and I immediately put in a dorm change request with resident services and just hope for the best. In the meantime, we agreed to never be alone in our dorm at night. Either we both spent the night at home or neither of us did. We started spending most nights with our respective boyfriends, or just anything to get away from that damn room. I told Ian that everything that had happened, and he suggested maybe I talk to the campus paranormal society. I hesitantly made an appointment, and Lydia and I met with a small, cleanly dressed kid named Craig and 4 of his quote-unquote colleagues the following Tuesday. We told them everything that we could remember, every incident, even no matter how small. Craig and the 4 other members of the paranormal society sat quietly and took notes for half an hour. It wasn't until we finished that anyone spoke. Is that all? Craig asked. Yes, I said slowly. Would you mind waiting out in the hall for a few minutes so that I may confer with my colleagues? Yeah, sure. Lydia smiled indulgently and stood up. Whatever you need. The door had barely shut behind us when Lydia snorted and rolled her eyes. Let's go. Go where? I asked. Are you serious? Lydia, come on. We need help. I am freaking out. We haven't stayed one night in our dorm since Thursday, so this isn't something we can just brush off. Okay. Let's hear what they have to say, and then we can go over to resident services and just check on our move requests. We loitered out in the hallway for another 15 minutes before Craig came out and asked to come back and take a seat. It was written weirdly there. With all the pomp and circumstance of a meeting of Parliament, Craig cleared his throat and made his diagnosis. I believe what you're dealing with, ladies, is a very angry ghost. Is that your professional opinion, Craig? Lydia said. I shot her a look. Yes, he stuttered. A vengeful spirit. A spirit? I asked. I very much doubted that that's what we were dealing with. Yes, answered one of the not Craigs. That's the ghost to the layperson. Jesus Christ. Lydia groaned, rubbed at her temples. Ugh. Mistaking Lydia's frustration with despair, Craig rushed right into his speech. Don't be afraid, ladies. We're going... I'm gonna do a random mod voice for this one, actually. Don't be afraid, ladies. We're going to take care of you. It's true that spirits can be quite a headache if you don't know how to exercise them, which is why it's good you came to us. Suicides almost always result in an angry ghost. They need to be seeking revenge of some kind, clearly. Revenge on whom? I asked. On other students. Perhaps this particular spirit was bullied into taking his own wife and now it seeks to torment others. Listen. We can take care of this for you right away. All we ask is a small donation to the society, Craig continued. We honestly didn't realize that room was having this much activity. This is really exciting. Bro's named Craig and he's the leader of the paranormal society. Of course he's a fucking
you have
Raymond.
to.
Alright. Great. Well, thank you for your time, Lydia said as she grabbed my hand and pulled me out of the chair. Do you want to set up something for this weekend? Craig asked. Tell you what, we'll call you. Lydia hurried me out of the room wearing a weary look, and we didn't speak again until we were almost to the admin building. Well, that was a waste of time, she said. Look, I'm not disagreeing with you, but Becca, tell me, you didn't honestly buy into that. So you don't think it's I was having trouble saying the words. It sounded so ridiculous. You don't think it was a ghost? Well, I don't fucking know. But neither do they. Like, I had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. I pulled my hood lower over my eyes as we stepped into line at the resident services desk. Let me put it this way, Lydia continued. We're playing Ghostbusters. They're playing Ghostbusters, and we were living the fucking Exorcist. Fine. Then what do you want to do? Just keep sleeping at Mike and Ian's until we get reassigned? I just want this to end. Lydia crossed her arms and just stared straight ahead. We all wanted this to end, even if living next to that fucking room wasn't scary. It was sure as hell distracting. Right, well, I mean, we're probably safe during daylight hours, so long as we don't spend nights there, we should be okay. Our room is only ghost adjacent after all, and our new assignments will come through soon. Checked on my watch. Oh fuck, it's almost 2. Shit, really? I gotta go. Mike just got accepted to Sigma Chi and he's being initiated today. Oh yeah, I forgot he rushed. The girl at the desk waved us forward. I hadn't realized we'd reached the front of the line. Just let me know what they say, okay? Lydia ran out of the door as quickly as possible without getting in trouble from the RA services. The girl at the desk eyed me suspiciously as I approached. Hi, You're the girl trying to move out of 734 in Riley, aren't you? She'd caught me off guard. Yeah, one of them. How did you know? Sorry, I overheard you. I also saw your file across my desk a few days ago, and I gotta ask, why are you looking into transferring rooms exactly?
Welcome, Hendrik.
I was tired. I was beaten down.
Welcome.
I didn't have the energy to think of a lie. Because, honestly, shit is going on in the empty room next door, and it's really, really freaking us out. Noises, whispers, knocking. The other night, I think I saw someone. You saw someone? Yeah. In room 733. Yeah. I looked under the door, and there was definitely someone there. The girl narrowed her eyes at me for a moment and then nodded for no particular reason.
Well, our rooms aren't exactly ready yet, but I've pushed them through as priority. For right now, you're stuck though. There just isn't anywhere else to put you. I sighed. I figured as much. At any rate, I'm Alice, she continued. And look, I've actually done a lot of research on the Riley suicides, and I think I can help you. Or at the very least, offer some insight. Really? I asked hesitantly. Oh, absolutely. I'm in Taylor Hall, room 310. I'll be back to my dorm by 4 p.m. today. Thanks. We just came from the Paranormal Society on campus. Ugh, say no more. Alice rolled her eyes. Yeah, so I'll definitely see you at 4. Great, sounds good, Alice said, with a smile. And with that, I turned and left. I was early to Taylor, but then so was she. I told her story for the second time that day, and Alice wasn't afraid to interrupt with questions, though her queries didn't betray her thoughts. When I was finished, she leaned back in her chair and sighed deeply. I can't believe it. She shook her head. I had always heard rumors, but I honestly doubted any of it, if it was true. I can assure you, everything I've told you here is absolutely true. And how is it now? When you're there, I mean. We aren't ever there at night nowadays, but during the day we've heard scratching on the wall, really quiet whispering, and sometimes we still hear the window opening and closing. In broad fucking daylight, no less. However, every time I look up from the street windows to 733, they're open. Alice nodded. Well, for the record, I don't think you're in any danger. As much as it sucks, you guys are simply a casualty. You just need to stay out of room 733. Are you kidding? I would never, ever go in there. I believe that you... Release me. Jesus. But this thing, whatever it is, it's tricky, manipulative, like a liar. And clearly it's smarter than you. I will, try not to be offended by that. You shouldn't be. What do you think it is? Something very old and very evil. I regarded her skeptically and then let my eyes wander around the room. I hadn't really noticed the decor before, but to say Alice had an interest in the occult was an understatement. I cannot see any situation where I would be compelled to enter the room. I know, but you have to be prepared that there may come a time when you have to make a decision about entering that room. So what you're dealing with, it's already killed 5 people. 5? I thought it was 3! Yeah, well, not everyone is inclined to do the level of research that I do. Let's see here. There was Ellen Burnham in 1961. She jumped out of the window. She was the very first. And then Tad Collinsworth in 1968. He jumped too. Marissa Gregg in 1975. I think she hung herself. Erin Murphy in 79. She also jumped. And then Eric Dunstan in 92. He also hung himself. Jesus Christ, 5 suicides. How could the university still let people live in there? They don't, apparently. That's why it's a supply room. And back then? Well, every 5 years, once everyone who would remember had graduated, that room would just be reassigned. Like nothing ever happened. This is before the internet, you know, and the incoming freshmen were absolutely clueless. But after that last one, Eric Dostin, they closed the entire north hall of the 7th floor and built more rooms on the south hall. So what does it want? Al shrugged. Chaos? Death? Souls? Who knows? No one even knows what it is. Okay, so what do we... What do we do now? We know that it's somehow bound to that room, though it seems to have, like, minimal influence just outside of it. We know that everyone who ever died was alone at the time, and we know that it is a trickster. That's what we know, at the very least. It wasn't enough. Why do you think they do it? I asked quietly. The victims, you mean? I nodded. All I know is what's rumored to be in the evidence files. All the suicides were found with pictures or ratings that were considered quote-unquote unspeakable at the time. They contained horrible, evil things that would make you physically sick to read, or even see, they say. And these people drew them? They wrote that stuff? Yep. Whatever's in that room drove them mad. That is fucking terrifying. Jesus Christ. Have you guys considered getting somebody to bless the room? Jeez. Well, you'll have a hard time getting him, but perhaps some other sort of holy person. No, I mean, Jesus, you're talking about an exorcism here. Alice shrugged. Maybe. The rumor in the 70s was that this all started with a Ouija board game gone wrong in 61. Really? Come on, be real. That shit was made by Hasbro. That is true. The original Ouija board was made by Hasbro.
Yup.
Not in the 60s, it wasn't. Anyways, it's just a rumor. The only person on campus who would know is, I think, Tom Bowen in admin. I've tried to talk to him before, but he refuses to see me. Did he go here in 61? Yes, and he was staying in Riley. We need to talk to him then. I need to know what the fuck is happening, or I won't be able to live the rest of my life as a well-adjusted person here. I suppose we can try and chase him down on campus. Do you think we could talk to him tomorrow? We can surely try. Mr. Rowan wouldn't see us that day, or even the next. We tried to catch him on his lunch hour and then again while he was leaving work, but he got around us every time. It was soon clear that the old man was actively avoiding us. Lydia and I had seen a little of each other since we'd continued to sleep in other dorms. Oh, I gotta sneeze. And then it left, and then it left.
Must have been the wind.
Must have been the fucking wind. We went back to our room twice a day. Once in the morning and once in the afternoon. Usually the other room was silent, but that did not make me feel any better. I could always sense something on the other side of the wall. Someone watching me, almost. It felt like the calm before the storm. The Thursday before Halloween, I came back to the dorm to shower in the evening, much later than usual. I'd seen Lydia that afternoon, and she informed me that she had enough clothes stored at Mike's to last until graduation, so I knew I'd be there alone. I showered down the hall in the safety of the bathrooms, and then walked back to my room to change. I was supposed to meet Ian in half an hour to head out to a party, and I wanted to get out of here as quick as possible. Since the silence was unnerving me, I threw my iPod on the docking station and turned up some music. I got dressed and then stood in front of the mirror to dry my hair. I flipped my hood over and blood-dried upside down to try and give my hair some volume. And when I flipped my head back up and shut off the blow dryer, I immediately noticed the silence in the room. But that wasn't all I noticed. I wasn't in my dorm anymore. Behind me was reflected the dusty bed frames and a large open windows of 733. I spun around in a panic to find that I was actually just still standing in my own room. I looked back at the mirror to see that 733 was
still reflected there. A slight movement behind me was all it took to make me run. I grabbed my bag and my phone, and I fled from my room, slamming the door behind me. On the elevator ride down, I called Alice. I can't do it anymore, I said when she picked up. I can't go back in that room again. I can't ever go back. What happened? I explained everything that just happened to her in detail. The mirror, the movement, everything. Jesus Christ. What do you want to do now? I need to talk to someone who knows what the fuck is going on. Is Tom Moen the only person we know was here in 61? The only one I know of. Maybe we can get him on his way in tomorrow morning. We'll just corner him and refuse to move until he tells us something. He comes in at 6:30 according to the schedule I have. Do you want to meet me outside the coffee shop in the atrium? Fuck yeah, I do. I have a class at 7:30, but I'll blow it off. Okay, see you then. I wasn't usually much for parties, but I was glad I was going to one that night. As soon as we got there, I asked Ian to get me a drink. Since I wasn't usually much of a drinker, he gave me a raised eyebrow. I gave him a brief synopsis of what had happened earlier, hoping he wouldn't think I was crazy. Ian made me a scotch and coke. It was the very first of many. Around midnight, I went to have a cigarette and checked my phone. I had an email from Lydia, or a voicemail, Jesus Christ, from Lydia left at 11:04 p.m. Hey, Becca, listen, I had a huge fucking fight with Mike. I guess his frat decided that for Halloween this year, all of the new brothers would have to spend the night in the suicide room in our dorm. I can't fucking take it. He knows what's been going on with us, and he's still agreed to do this. He's now trying to convince me that Sigma Chi is behind all the stuff going on in room 733, just because they're trying to drum up buzz for their Halloween deal. I hit end and threw my phone in my bag. No wonder Lydia was pissed. This was not good. This was not good at all. I found Ian inside and asked him to take me home. I was suddenly very stressed, very tired, and very, very drunk. When the alarm went off at 6 a.m., it took everything I had to pull myself out of bed. I got dressed in the clothes I'd worn the night before and shuffled up my way across the campus to the atrium. Alice was already there, with a black coffee in hand. I figured you'd need this, she laughed. How'd you know? Your texts. I texted you last night. Yeah, about 1 p.m. You told me about Sigma Chi. Oh, God, yeah. I pushed my sunglasses higher up on my nose and pulled my hood lower over my eyes. Okay. Those guys are idiots. Remember how I told you that it's crafty? Well, what if the point of messing with you was to make 733 kind of provocative? You know, to seduce people to going inside. No one has ever been in that room for years. Can you imagine how hungry that thing is? Do you think they're really at risk? I asked as I sat down on the steps of the admin building. Yeah, in fact, the only thing they have going for them is that all those suicide victims were alone at the time of their deaths. So maybe it'll be less powerful with all of them there? Theoretically. But we would know a lot more if we knew exactly what it was. And we can't know what it is without knowing how it got there. Which is why we need to talk to Moen. What time is he supposed to get here? Actually, 20 minutes ago, Alice said grimly. It was another half hour before we got re-signed ourselves to the fact that Mr. Moen had snuck around us as usual. We went to the front office, hoping to beg again for an appointment with him anyway. The woman at the admin desk regarded us coldly. Tom isn't coming in today. Or any day, for that matter. He quit yesterday. It looks like you won't be harassing him anymore. We weren't harassing him, I said. We desperately needed to talk to him.
We still do,
Alice added. Well, you won't get any of his personal information from me, she said snidely, and walked away.
What the fuck do we do now?
I asked Alice. Without Tom Moen, there's nothing left to do. Alice, fuck, I can't go back into that room.
I guess it's good your transfers came through.
They did?
Yep.
I got the notice when I checked my work email this morning. You're going to Morton and Lydia's going to Tinsley. Oh, thank God.
I thought you'd be happy about that.
I also convinced my boss not to assign anyone else to room 734. Thank fuck.
The only thing is that you won't be able to move until Monday.
I think I can last through the weekend, especially now that the end is in sight. I have to tell Lydia. I opened my phone to pull up Lydia's number, but my attention was caught by the red 1 over the badge over the voicemail logo. I hit play. It was the rest of the message.
Even didn't look at his dumb fucking face anymore, so I'm gonna head home. Don't worry about me, I'll be okay. I'm drunk enough to sleep through any bullshit from next door. I'm just so fucking pissed off right now. I would honestly rather deal with that dumb shit Beth and Michael. My parents must be siblings because I'm that fucking retarded Benson. Let's hang out tomorrow, okay? Love you, bye!
The message ended.
God damn it.
Alice gave me a questioning look. Lydia spent the night in our dorm. Alex cringed. She's safe though, right?
As long as she didn't go into 733.
She won't. I thought of the always open large windows in the corner room. If nothing else, the mere thought of those would keep Lydia the hell out of that room.
Good, well, since we have nothing else to do you want to go look for theology books in the library?
It's pretty much the only thing open right now. Yeah, sure. Shrugged. I didn't have another class until 10. The little old lady who sat behind the library's checkout desk must have been like 1,000 years old. Miss Stapley's eyes were small and watery, and her skin looked like it was melting off of her skull. Still, she was nice and knowledgeable and pointed us in the right direction for books on demonology, though she gave us a curious look as she did. There wasn't much. We read everything we could, but it either wasn't relevant or wasn't even in English. We returned to her desk 30 minutes later.
Do you have anything on the occult?
The occult? Her voice trailed off. Yes I do. Over there to the left of the reference section. Okay, thanks. Sorry, I'm too hungover to use the Dewey Decimal System, I said. I don't think she likes the look of us, Alice whispered as we walked away. Our look or our subject matter? Probably neither. Within the hour, we were back up at our desk, having struck out again. We could tell she was getting annoyed as her eyes narrowed suspiciously at us when we approached. Sorry, do you know where we could find something about seances or Ouija boards or...
Now, listen, girls.
Miss Stapley stood up from her desk and looked over her glasses at us.
I really hope that this is for class.
It is, I said. It's not, and Alice answered simultaneously. It's personal research.
Research? Research of what kind?
Look, we're not gonna mess with like a Ouija board or anything. Good. Miss Stapley smoothed out her pleated pants and sat down.
Because I can't have that sort of thing going on here again.
Again? Alice latched on. The older woman suddenly looked very uncomfortable and started fidgeting with a stack of books on her desk.
We may have something on seances. And Miss Stapley, we're researching what happened in Riley in 1961. Alice interrupted. And also what's been going on there ever since. Well, it's no secret, is it? Student committed suicide in that room. Dreadful, but not unheard of on a university campus.
It was actually 5 students, I corrected her.
But you know that, right?
Alice was suddenly starting to talk very fast.
Because you sound like you're very well versed in this story. Please, tell us how this started, and we might be able to end it.
End it? Miss Stapley's voice became quieter and more concentrated.
Don't be so arrogant, young lady. You can't end it. People have always died in that room, and they always will. There's no end to it, so you'd best stay far away from it. But maybe if we knew how this all started... It started just as you think it did. But everyone that was involved is either very old or very dead by now. Just stay away from that room. Concentrate on your studies.
I leaned over her desk. Well, I'd love to, but they assigned my friend and me to the room next door. Maybe you can forget all about the suicides, but we can't. It won't fucking let us.
Young lady, I never forget.
Miss Stapley's voice was even quieter now.
My friend Ellen was the very first to be killed in that room. She was my very best friend, and not a night goes by that I don't imagine her wiggling out of that tiny window, standing upon the cold ledge in her bare feet and jumping off the 7th floor of that building.
Alice sighed.
I'm really sorry. I didn't know. Yes, well, these are old wounds, my dear. Now, girls, I suggest you request a room reassignment immediately. No one should be living on the 7th floor of that building, and that's all I'm going to tell you about it.
Alice sighed, but resigned herself with a nod. We wouldn't learn anything more here. Still, it was quite a breakthrough. At least we had some information now. Alice walked away, and I made to follow her, but my feet wouldn't move. Something was bothering me. A small yet poignant word had been buried in Miss Stapley's story. A word that suddenly seemed very important. Miss Stapley, I asked the tired old woman at the desk. Why did you refer to the windows in 733 as tiny? Because I've seen those windows and they're huge, like 5 feet tall.
Dear, you're thinking of the corner room. That's the supply closet. Room 733 is the door next to that.
A cold chill shot through my body all at once. No. That's room 734.
Yes, well, it is now. When they built the additional rooms on the south hall, they moved all the room numbers down.
Oh my god. I suddenly felt very hot and very dizzy.
That sneaky fucker,
Alice whispered next to me, her skin paling. Lydia. We took off across the campus at a dead run, witnessed only by the few bleary-eyed students on their way to morning classes. When Riley finally came into view, I stumbled onto the pavement as my blood turned to ice. From our vantage point, we could clearly see the windows of the corner room were closed. And the first and only time I had ever seen that way. And the window to my room was open. We ran into the lobby, pushing past several latte-sipping, Ugg-boot-wearing freshmen who had just gotten off the elevator. I hit 7 and watched the doors close more slowly than I had ever before. I leaned against the wall of the elevator, trying to steady my breathing. Alice, how the fuck did this happen? I don't know. I don't fucking know. She's been in there all night, Alice, in our room, alone. Alice shook her head, but had nothing to say. When the doors finally opened on floor 7, I saw a quiet, deserted hallway. I ran toward my room with Alice right behind me. Rounding the corner, I threw open my door, hoping it wasn't locked, and it wasn't. Lydia looked back at me, and for one breathless moment, a cruel glimmer of hope crossed over her tear-streaked face. But it was too late. The next second, she leaned forward, so slightly, and she was gone. She screamed the entire way down. Alice ran to the ledge where Lydia had just been while I stood motionless. She stuck her head out of the window and looked down, just as a different kind of screaming started from the bottom floor. Alice closed her hand over her mouth. I pulled her head back into the room as tears of shock ran down her ghost-white face. Screaming from outside got louder as more people saw what remained of my best friend on the cold pavement. I leaned back against the dresser and slumped onto the floor. A falling death. Lydia never wanted a falling death. I absentmindedly picked up one of the pictures that were strewn all over the floor. It was a picture of Lydia's mother. She was dead. I picked up another picture. It was Lydia's baby sister. She was dead too. There were dozens and dozens of pictures just like that all over the floor. Lydia had been busy last night. As for the things depicted in them, I cannot tell you. I can't bear to think about it. Lydia was a talented artist, and I only saw a few before I got sick on the floor next to me. Ugh. Alice was standing in the doorway, yelling something down the hall. I don't know what she was saying because all I could hear was a high-pitched whining in the room. Suddenly, a piece of paper slid out from under the crack in the closet door and glided all the way across the floor toward me. I picked it up and studied it for a moment. It was drawn by Lydia too, but it wasn't like the others. It was a picture of the closet from my exact vantage point. In the drawing, the door was cracked and there was something looking back from the darkness. I put the paper down and studied the closet. The door was cracked, just like the picture. I squinted my eyes and tried to see inside. Just as I started to distinguish the defined lines of a face, a long face looking back at me, Alice pulled me to my feet. "We need to get out of here," I thought I heard her say. I never went back in that room. My parents moved my things, and I spent the rest of the semester in an apartment off campus. I transferred to an out-of-state school for my spring semester and finished my degree there. Every night, I dream of Lydia pulling herself through the tiny window, shimmying onto the cold ledge, standing up and knowing there's nothing between her body and the terrifying abyss in front of her. I watch her look down at 7 stories into the black pavement below and realize, though not accept her terrible fate, I see the blind horror cross her face. I hear her wildly pounding heart, desperately trying to race through every beat of the life she should have lived, and knowing it was only mere seconds. I watch her look back at me, and I watch her fall. It's been 9 years since that night, and every fall semester for 9 years I've called resident services to see which dorms are open for new student assignments. Riley is always open. 7th floor is closed. This year, life and work got in the way, and I called much later than usual. I was put on hold immediately. Resident services, a man finally answered. Were you the one asking about the open rooms in Riley? Yes, that's me. We're entirely filled up, and there's a waiting list for Riley. But as it happens, we actually have great timing. I can make no promises, but we may be able to get you in. We just got approval this morning. Approval for what? I said slowly. We're opening up the 7th floor. And that was room 733.
Wow.
Oh boy, that one was kind of bleak at the end. Lord have mercy.
That
Oh,
that is a
Jesus.
good story. Cause like holy
one was
fucking shit, the
phenomenal.
fucking twist that they just moved the rooms one down.
Yeah, I know. That shit fucking got me, man. Holy.
Yeah, cause like they're like, okay, the supply fucking closet, everything else has a bit overused. Okay, makes sense that it was okay, treated as a room, had huge windows and stuff. But that should also have been like the moment somebody notices that something's wrong, because it's the only room
Yeah.
that has huge windows. All the other
Yeah,
dorms have
yeah.
small ones.
I picked up on that really early on too, because I noticed that like they were like, oh yeah, they like squeezed out of the fucking tiny ass windows and stuff. And then she mentioned when she was like looking underneath the door that the windows were really big, and I was like, something's not right. Something is very much not right here. And it wasn't. Good lord.
Yeah, and then that whole fucking thing with the closet, or the wardrobe rather, like something's weird there. Because at first it was like, okay, they go investigate the freaking closet, the fucking like closet room, of course, and there's that eyeball. But then the knocking from the wardrobe itself, it's like, what the fuck did they do? What is in there? Whomstuff?
Yeah. Whomstuff. Yes, okay, fucking let us move on now to some short, scary stories! Yippee!
By the way, during
Jesus.
that story, I got
Also-
a random phone call from my fucking
Oh, no.
a career psychologist, which was like perfect fucking timing, and I just was like,
Wow,
oh,
very
shit.
perfect timing. I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure you noticed it. I had to sneeze really bad.
Yup.
And then I was fumbling with my fucking overlay for a minute to try and unmute myself and continue reading. Oh boy. But yes, next we are moving on to some short scary stories by our good buddy Empty Real Invective. And we're gonna read a couple just to pad out the time, and then if we do have a little bit of time left over, I'll just read some stuff from r/scary stories. And mind you, I'm just gonna read these all down the creepypasta page, so some of them will be a little bit short, but that's okay. And we're just gonna like rapid fire these. I'm just gonna say the title and then get right into reading them. Ah, jeez, my nose. Ugh.
Sneeze
Also,
already.
a nice little. I'm trying, bro. Nice little break before we continue.
Heck yeah.
Oh god. Again, I apologize, chat, for being all gross and snotty. My buddy hates me. Alright. So, let's get into it. This first one is called I Don't Know What Was Scarier. After a long day of work, there was nothing I wanted more than just a nice, relaxing shower. Under the rivulets of water, I felt the stress and tension wash off of me. I stepped out of the shower, silently cursing that it was laundry day and I had no clean towels to dry off with. It really wasn't a big deal. I would just drip dry and make sure I took everything to the laundry room the next day. I walked around the bedroom, letting the cool night air circulate over my body, which caused my skin to prickle. It was cold outside, but I expected the house should have been a little warmer. I would have to call utilities and see if there might be a problem with my heating. I didn't want to sit on anything for fear of soaking it, so I decided I would lay out my clothes for the next day. I stepped into the closet and pulled the cord on the light bulb that hung from the ceiling. There was a brief flash before something was illuminated that I was not prepared for. A man. In one fist, he clenched an old-fashioned straight razor, and in his other hand was a roll of electrical tape and a bag of salt. And there was a twisted smile across his face that made his intentions very clear. I wanted to scream, but fear paralyzed my throat. I don't know what was scarier. The realization that I was in this situation stark naked, or the fact that he was too. Ugh. Gross. That one was gross. Ugh.
Ew.
Alright. This next one is called Pillow Talk. It's very short. I think it's 2-sentence horror. I loved how my wife used to wake me up by whispering sweet nothings into my ear every morning. I didn't enjoy her pillow talk as much the day after her funeral. Ugh.
Ew.
Ugh. That was a little clumsy, but oof. Ugh, I don't like that. I don't like it.
I don't like it. I don't like it. We
I don't like it either. Alright, this one is called Intervention. To tell you the truth, I needed to drink. I would have had a hard day at work, and I would go to the bar and let the alcohol wash away my thoughts. It's cathartic. My daughter, wife, and friends would always lay into me when I got home stinking of alcohol. They would bitch at me and saying that I just wasn't the person they thought I was when I went out drinking, and I could have been such a better person. They would always be lying in wait for me when I got home. I would walk through the door and fight a group of my family and friends waiting for me. They would always ambush me with prepared letters about how my drinking made them feel, which of course was always bullshit, as they didn't give me an appropriate time to form my own argument to theirs. There wasn't much I could do under their relentless assault. I'd always let them cry and rage against me anyways. Afterwards, I would tell them I would change and find the strength to quit. A few weeks later, I would down a fifth of Jack Daniels and wash away my thoughts, and the process would begin again. They would organize another meeting, and I would keep making empty promises because I knew it was better than the alternative. When I was sober, I'd kept imagining them on hooks, pleading and begging for the sweet release of death. I'd imagine their flesh and how it would be so appealing to slice open and tear apart. They want me to quit drinking, but without it, I keep imagining the end. I keep imagining how they would plead and how their flesh would taste. I think this last intervention really stuck. I feel like myself again. Ooh.
Blech.
Ooh, that twist. Oof. Oof. Creepy.
Fucking
Alright,
butcher
this is
Pete
another
over here,
real
man.
short one. Real. This is another short one. It's called Family. John always loved having his family over. But now, as he watched them pawing at his back door, leaving bloody and putrescent stains, he realized that he didn't like it so much anymore. Jesus! Alright, good damn!
Okay, zombie apocalypse?
Probably. Alright, this one is called We'll Meet Again. The entire group gathered around the window. This time, it wasn't to stare into the infinite blackness of space or ponder the nature of their exploration. They weren't looking out, but instead they were looking down. Down at mankind for finally reaping what they had sown. Detonations that were visible from space dotted the Earth. The explosion stretched up as far as if it to ensnare the heavens itself. The massive mushroom clouds started off in small numbers but quickly grew more as countries attempted to make their contribution towards their ultimate demise. Soon, the entire world was pockmarked with massive radioactive mushroom clouds. A few hours later, there was nothing and no one left. The astronauts could only watch in dumbfounded mix of terror and shock as their homes were lost to fallout and scorched earth policies brought into action decades ago. There was no one else. It was only them now. Music sliced through the tension and terror. Vera Lynn crooned, "Keep smiling just like you do. Always do." And all it took was one man to start laughing before the entire crew dissolved. Some laughed until their stomachs wrapped themselves into knots. Some laughed until tears welled up in their eyes. Some laughed even though they had found nothing particularly funny. They continued to laugh even though there was no point anymore, and that just made them laugh all the harder. Man, that one was bleak, Lord.
That is
Goodness.
wasn't there a movie based around that as well, where literally the astronauts like go into space and they just watch as
think
Earth
so?
just either gets completely obliterated or something happens?
I think so. There might be. We're definitely gonna have to look it up after stream because I'm
Definitely.
very, very curious about it. Alright.
So am I. That's a good premise though. Like actually being like
Oh,
you're,
it's a
you're out there
fantastic
doing
premise.
things and then you just look back and oh, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, you're just like, cause the immediate panic is, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah.
Nothing. You can't do a damn thing. You can't wait long enough for the radiation to go away, and you can't go back. You know, you
The
can't go
worst is,
anywhere else.
Yeah. Oh, now I remember. There's one story which is like they do another moon landing thing just to go back there, but the dude's like landing craft, whatever the heck, it actually gets slightly damaged, so he can't get off the moon anymore, and he sends out an SOS and everything else. But when he watches back, Earth, he sees the blinding flashes from Earth, and when he looks at the space station, that thing's wiped out by an asteroid.
Oof.
And then he's just there,
Yeah.
staring, wondering
It's
what the
kind
fuck
of
to do.
evocative. It's evocative of the Martian. You know, that one fucking book written by
Yeah.
that one guy that was
Didn't
turned
also
into a
come-
movie.
Yeah, the one where he still is trying to complete his mission, and he's like doing botany and everything else inside there.
Yeah, and he manages to grow fucking potatoes on the fucking surface of Mars, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very evocative of that. But that one at least has a happy ending, and he fucking makes it home.
Yep.
All right, this one is called "Reminiscences of Childhood." While most children recall drifting off to the sound of their mobiles and mother's lullabies every night, I remember falling asleep to the sound of the man creeping downstairs from his hiding spot in the attic. Ugh! Icky! Icky! Ugh!
Ew.
Ugh! Ugh! Ew! Alright, fucking moving on. This one is called Bed of Roses. Tonight, I came home to the fragrant smell of roses. It only took a few minutes of investigation to find the source of the smell. My bed was covered in vibrant crimson color that made my heart skip a beat. It was completely hidden under a layer of rose petals. There was a candle on the dresser, and its light illuminated the message. I am yours, and you are mine. I love you, and I want to do something that will take your breath away. It was a very romantic gesture. It would have been more romantic had I not been single for the past 3 years. It would have been romantic had the message not been written in crimson as well. Now, only now, I smell that iron odor in every corner of my house, and my heart is beating like it's about to rip out of my chest. I can only wonder what they meant by wanting to do something that would take my breath away. Ugh, Jesus!
Man got Silent Hilled.
Uh-huh. Good
There
grief.
was a hole here, but it's gone now.
Uh-huh. Alright, this one is called Faces. Women braided me on the street today because I was in a soldier's uniform, screaming, "If I remembered all the faces of the people I'd killed, I'd I don't need to remember their faces. I wake up every morning to their pale forms standing over me, riddled with the bullets I shot through them. Oh, jeez, that was dark. Oh, bless you. At least somebody got to fucking sneeze tonight. God damn.
It was the ghost of sneezes past.
So you absorbed all of the fucking sneezes that were supposed to be mine. You stole my sneezes, you fuck. I want them back.
Yoink splinky.
Actually, no. Fucking, you could take them. You could take them. You could take all of my sneezes. You
Absolutely
could take all of
back.
my sinus issues. Yes. Alright. This one is called The Stars. Stars.
Hello, Nemesis.
Right. I'd been wandering around this cave for hours. I'd gotten separated from the tour guide and spent the last 4 hours wandering around in the darkness. Hey, thank you. Thank you for
There
bringing
you
back.
go.
Oh, Jesus. I had started the tour around 3, which meant, according to my internal clock, that it was around 7 or 8. Stop giving my sneezes back, bro. Fuck. Hold them for a minute. Oh, this stream is so scuffed.
Hell yeah.
The sun would be setting and the forest would become just as dark as it was in the cave. I wandered around in the darkness with my hand on a wall of the cave. I was certain that if I stuck to this path, that I would eventually come to the mouth of the cave. After another hour of bumbling around in the darkness, I found my way out of the cave. It was a moonless night and I could see the stars in the sky. I wept with relief as I looked up at those beacons of light. There were thousands of them up there. I watched in wonder as they winked out of existence, only to reappear seconds later. I watched this phenomenon in confusion. It only took a few seconds for me to come up with my answer. These weren't stars winking and blinking in and out of existence. They were eyes, and they were drawing closer to me.
Well Good job,
Okay.
cave diver.
There's also a photo that I'm gonna send to you, Sleep,
Okay.
that is, like, attached to it. Ugh. That's the thing! That's the thing in there! Look at Discord! Ooh, that's... It's like... Chat, it's like this thing. It looks kind of like the hard to
Hold
kill
on, I
reptiles
can show
from
it to
SCP.
Chad. Hold on.
Okay, cool, cool. It's quite awful. It's
Yeah, that's what it looks
quite
like.
awful. The long fingies, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
That it's like a. It's almost like a. What the fuck are they called? Lickers from Resident Evil, but it's really not.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking that too. Good grief, it's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay. This one is called Living Alone. The worst part of living with roommates is hearing them moving around the house at all hours of the night. The worst part of living alone is still hearing those exact same sounds. Ugh! Why are these so icky? Goodness!
Oh, yeah. I can personally attest to that. Because I used to, like, back in the day, I lived with my mother and my mother's, like, partner at that point. And when they finally moved out and I had this whole apartment to myself, the saddest part is hearing furniture moving, stuff moving, even though I have empty rooms.
Yeah,
and finding things in those closets
not
that
fun.
don't belong, like a fire poker. I don't have a fireplace. We've never had one.
I gotta love squatters, you know what I'm saying? Especially if they're cracked out and violent. Ugh. Jesus. Alright. This one is called Rendezvous with God. Atheists, agnostics, and theologists gathered around to debate and quibble over the latest discovery. In the farthest reaches of space, an astronomer had come across a source of pure energy. It resonated on a wavelength that seemed otherworldly. It's far beyond the reaches of human engineering and technology. The astronomer, a devoted believer, wasted no time in gathering up the media and other like-minded scientists and declaring that he had discovered the existence of God, our creator. Atheists called it, quote, the inanimate remains of the Big Bang, unquote. Theologists claimed it was, quote, the embodiment of God, unquote. Agnostics just shrugged their shoulders and, when asked, and claimed, who knows? After days of debate, someone came up with the idea to try and make contact with the entity that was perched on the edge of the universe to get their answer. They would try blasting a wide array of frequencies, languages, and music at it, in an effort to make contact. They tried everything. Atheists cursed it and tried to invoke its wrath. Theologists tried praying in an effort to make it respond to their supplications. After exhausting all possible strategies, a young agnostic man stepped up to the podium. He was well respected on all sides and was probably the best educated and well-versed scientist in the group. He addressed the crowd. This is indeed God. We have found the creator. Atheists were outraged. Theologists were incensed. If this was God, why was it not responding? The agnostic man took a second before saying, it's simple. God is not responding because God no longer cares about us. Ooh, quite poignant. I like that one. I like that one a lot.
God is dead and we killed him.
Yes, he is. Ha ha ha. Alright, this
That's
one is
an old
called
saying.
Lightning. One is called Lightning. I was never a fan of the lightning. It came down at random intervals, and I was always worried it would illuminate the room just enough for you to see my face gazing at you through your window. Ugh. That one was a little clumsy, but it's still kind of icky. Ew.
Alright, so where's the lightning, Silent Hill? Of all
There
times, now
is
it
thunder and lightning in
refuses.
here.
I know. I was waiting for it to fucking ring at perfect moment and then actually see something because we're in the room.
The room.
Those who know.
God. Those
Oh,
who
there it
know.
is.
Feels like fucking, I don't know.
It's just fucking Morse
Reveals
critical
Raimi
staring
back
at
there. It's the fucking scream before he dissipates, just whoop.
you. Yep.
Alright. This one is called Together Forever. We made a lot of promises, typically after a night of passion. When we were covered in sweat and spent from our emotions, we would whisper sweet nothings. He had wrapped his arms around me, and I could still feel his emotions deeply. He pulled me close and said it. Together forever. The car slammed into a tree and pitched me forward. He was stopped from joining me by the steering wheel. I rolled through the woods, a whirling dervish of bruises and broken bones and blood. I passed out, and when I awoke, I was alone. The ambulance must have not seen me and left me behind. I hobbled home, my bones sucking and popping lewdly out from my wounds. It took a few days, but I finally reached him. He was heavily medicated, and he looked shocked to see me. It was my appearance that was so profoundly impacted him. My blood had congealed on my mottled gray skin. The wounds where my bones broke through had begun to rot. A day of traveling in the hot sun had already made me bloat up with gases from decomposition, and I looked almost pregnant. I was rotting from the inside out. He was still under the influence of his medication, but that would wear off. I sat down next to him and ran my putrescent and cold hand over his head. He stiffened as I leaned close. My words rattled through my broken teeth into his ear. Together forever. Ugh, Jesus.
Ugh.
Goddamn.
The fuck was that
I
sound?
will say, there was a little scrim here near the very beginning that was a little graphic for Twitch, so I graciously left it out.
Yeah.
it, it was a little graphic.
Yeah, for some reason, as soon as you got to that fucking bloated part near the end, I heard a wet splat sound over there.
Ew.
Yeah, that came from this
That's
room.
Huh. I hated that thing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh man, I accidentally spoiled myself for this next one because it's really short, but damn, it's a doozy. It's called Notes, and it's a single line. Quote, "I'm leaving you, and I'm taking our child with me." And that was my wife's suicide note. Oh my god. It's a
Well
little
then.
edgy, but Jesus.
Yeah, that's just.
God damn, brother.
What the fuck?
Fuck, man. Alright, this one is called Landlines. Carrie always loved Sundays. Her parents would go out to run errands, leaving her to call her boyfriend. Her parents didn't know about him. As an only child, her parents were quite overprotective and prohibited her from dating until she was 15. She, of course, decided to keep Josh's existence from them. This didn't matter. She loved him. She loved talking to him. His voice set her heart aflutter. Sunday was the only time she could call him and not have to be worried about being caught. It became a ritual for them. Every Sunday, she would call and they would talk until her parents got home. There was one blemish in this otherwise perfect scene. Josh's brother was nosy and would always pick up the phone and listen in on their conversation. Carrie could hear his breathing while they talked, and he tried to breathe softly, but she could still hear him. This went on for weeks, and slowly but surely Carrie's frustration at the situation grew. Josh ignored it, but after one particularly heated conversation, Carrie asked, "Could you tell your brother to buzz off? I can hear him listening in on the phone line." Josh's answer was sobering. We don't have another phone in the house. I thought you said you were certain your parents had gone out to run errands." Carrie listened to the phone click on the receiver in her kitchen. She had watched her parents leave. Whoever was in her kitchen was not her parents. Ooh.
Oof.
That one's icky in a different way. I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought it was gonna be like a thing where like it was revealed that Josh was like way older than intended to be. But this one is like, it's better, but it's also like worse.
Stranger danger.
Stranger danger. Stranger danger. Oh no.
Oh no, yes, 20th.
Buenas.
Oh no.
Alright.
Ah,
Alright. Just
fucking
take it back,
sneeze.
Sawyer. Take it back. Take it back.
No, I'm saying to you.
No. I don't want it.
Oh, too bad.
Alright, this one is called Wishes. Billy had made a wish that his grandfather who'd passed away could be brought back to life. He should have clarified his wish a little more. The man's mouthless screaming coming from the urn in which his ashes resided was unsettling to say the least.
Well,
Oh, Jesus!
Good job, Billy. Now Grandpa's
Good
screaming in
God.
the fucking jar again. That's the 6th time, Billy.
Yippee. Fucking hell. Alright. This one is called The Glow. Alexei stood on the bridge that overlooked the area with his mouth agape. He had never seen something so wondrous. Off in the distance glowed an ethereal blue light, mixed with the dusky twilight, and seemed to cast an otherworldly light on the area surrounding it. People from all over town had flocked to this overlook after hearing the news of this oddity. They all stood, dumbstruck, bathing in the light that emanated from the landscape that was stretched out before them. Alexei felt a tug on his pants leg, and he looked down to see his youngest, Sergei. He was 6 years old and couldn't get a look at the radiance. He was begging his father to boost him up so he could get a better view. He obliged with a smile on his face and picked up his son, setting him on his shoulders. The two watched the light, awestruck at the inherent beauty of the world. Alexei knew that if he lived to be 1,000 years old, he would not see another sight that excuse me, you would not see another sight that rivaled the beauty of the bluish light intermingling with the Pripyat sky. It was April 26th, 1986, and Chernobyl had just suffered a catastrophic failure at its nuclear power plant. Within a month, anyone who went to watch that glow withered away and died from acute radiation poisoning. Oh my god, that one was grim. That one was really grim.
Actually, like, there was a funny, I'm saying funny in a morbid way, a funny situation that happened at Chernobyl, because when the radiation, when like the whole like reactor basically broke, there was a beam of like this aurora looking light that came up from the actual reactor core high up into the sky, and people literally were staring at it without realizing that as soon as you saw it, it was too fucking late. It was beautiful.
It's quite grim.
But they were literally like, what was it, 17 seconds to about an hour and a half before people started just collapsing and dead on the spot. All painless. Extremely painless.
Yep.
And also, hello,
it's
relative
really
again.
tragic to think about. Hi, Zero. It's really tragic to think about, but like, wow, what a chillingly scary fucking thought.
It's that
to have.
basically the truest horror story is the man who took the picture of the elephant's foot in the reactor.
Oh,
So those who don't know the story, I'll quickly condense it. That photo is a real photo taken by a man who crawled in there, and as soon as he got out of the hole and gave the picture over, he said, "My work is done," and collapsed on the spot, dead. What was it, 17 seconds or something like that was all it took.
Right. That's fucked up, man. That is so fucked.
There's still some, you can actually, I think there's a few videos you can still find of them sending unmanned drones to look at it. They're still like going through it, at least it was before the Ukrainian war. I think you can still find some of those videos.
I think so.
It's
yes.
interesting.
And the worst part about like, because there are still there are like technically illegal tours of Pripyat in that area. The zone, yes. But the worst part about going on a tour there, there's a bunch of dogs and cats, and you can't pet them because they're radioactive.
Yep. There's also another thing where there's this. Yeah, there's this one dude that Adam sent me who actually went on a tour there and filmed his entire thing. Fucking idiot.
Dumbass.
He found out they actually have these black SUVs like driving through the area, making sure there's no one who's not supposed to be there, and also there is actual helicopter patrols.
Yes, they are very, very determined to keep people out with good reason. With good fucking reason.
You can go there on guided tours, long as you stay off the grass.
Yeah. And don't pet the animals.
Don't pet the dog.
But yeah. Can't pet the radioactive dogs or the cats. But yeah. So sad. All right, let's get back on track here. Fucking hell. All right. We got 20 more minutes. Cool. I want to pad out this time as much as possible. Alright. This one is called Thank God for Familiar Faces. People are always telling me I have one of those familiar faces. I guess that's why the woman in the lineup misidentified her attacker. Oof.
Ouch.
Oof. Let's move on. Tooth Fairy. This one is called Tooth Fairy. Yippee! Johnny was having a hard time readjusting to his life after the move. They moved after Steve had lost his job. The father knew it was difficult being moved from your home and being forced to make new friends in a school. He'd gone through it himself when he was young, and he empathized, which is why he decided to do something nice for him. He had just lost another one of his baby teeth, and Steve sat down with him and explained how he, quote, talked to the Tooth Fairy and convinced him to increase the price for teeth to $5 whole, as Johnny had been such a good boy lately. Johnny's eyes lit up the next morning and he found $5 under his bed. He excitedly talked about buying a new Game Boy so he could play Pokemon with his friends. It's quite endearing. Steve told him that $5 would not be enough. He had meant to discourage him. He planned on giving his son a Game Boy in a few months when his birthday rolled around. Johnny stuck at his lips and pouted. It was tough seeing him like that, but he didn't have the money for the system just yet. Johnny, however, wanted it now, and he had a plan. Steve woke up to a horrible scene the next morning. Johnny was at the kitchen table with pliers in his hand. Blood stained his mouth and the front of his shirt. In front of him were 6 tiny teeth. Steve could only watch in shock as his son angled the pliers back towards his mouth and burbled through the blood. Just 2 more, and I'll have enough. Oh my god, that is fucking gruesome. Goodness gracious. No. Okay. Another little tangent here, chat. So, not too long ago, I think maybe sometime last year, I believe, I finally got my wisdom teeth taken out. Now, mind you, I'm not exactly I'm not exactly well off. So, they had to do the procedure all at once, and I had to be put under not general anesthetic, which is where they like put the mask on you and then you fall asleep and then wake up hours later. No, they gave me local anesthetic, which is where they take this content warning. They take this big ass syringe that's about like this
Yay
big. When you think of like the typical like horror movie syringe with like the 2 loops on the side and the big ass plunger, yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm not shitting you.
The fucking
and
stim
they
pack.
stuck me in the stim pack, yeah. And they stuck me in the gums a couple times, and they carefully worked to like pull my teeth out. Again, content warning: the fucking sound of teeth being pulled out of your head when they're adult teeth specifically, it's sobering. If honestly, I try not to be such a cruel individual as much anymore because I've matured and realized that it's just not cool. If someone is truly such a fucking shitter, or just feel they've done something to deserve such a thing, they should have a tooth pulled. Just one, because the sound is quite sobering. The sound alone, it, like, fucked me up really bad. I'm, like, really paranoid about my teeth now.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Also, chat, brush your teeth. Twice a day, floss, mouthwash, brush your teeth. Take care of your fucking teeth.
Take care of
bitch.
your fucking teeth so you don't end up with fucked up mouth.
Yes.
Don't be a
Alright,
dingus.
next story. Alright, this one is called Wishes Revisited. Billy wished on the shooting star that he wouldn't have to go to school ever again. The meteorite granted his wish by smashing into him from orbit.
Billy! God fucking damn it!
Damn, dude, the cosmic timing of that is quite insane.
Bro, why the fuck is Billy causing these stupid wishes constantly? Fucking grandpa, now the comet. God damn it, Billy.
SMFH, bro.
God damn
It's so
it, Billy.
crazy. Alright. Excuse me. This one is called You Tried. You tried to ignore him, but he just kept talking. Oh god, I gotta sneeze. Take it back, Snake! Take it back!
No, you're keeping it.
God,
At
this
least you
stream
tried.
is so scuffed. Ugh! Ugh. He had been leaning up against a wall to prevent falling over when you walked by him. You tried to convince yourself that he didn't know what he was saying or who he was saying it to, but he just kept insulting you. You tried to control your temper, but your patience began to wear thin. You tried to imagine what you could do to him. He was drunk and he wouldn't be able to defend himself. You could easily overpower him, pin him to the ground while punching, gouging, biting into his exposed flesh. He would scream as you hooked your finger into the orbit and obliterating his eye while you sank your teeth into his cheek and tore flesh free. You tried to quell those thoughts. They wouldn't get you anywhere, and when it was all said and done, he'd still be bothering you. You tried to cross the street, but he followed you. He didn't like being ignored, and now he wanted an apology for you treating him like he wasn't there, like he wasn't a human being. You tried to lose him by ducking into an alley, but he drunkenly shambled after you. Tried to tell yourself that you were attempting to get away and weren't actually luring him away from prying eyes. You lost it when he caught up to you and shoved you. You tried to stop yourself. You really did. You tried. Damn! Why this motherfucker?
Hello,
why
Jack.
this motherfucker making up, writing stories about my fucking Saturday night plans? What the fuck?
It's Saturday Night Fever. Hello, Jack. We're
That's
having a quick bombardment of scary, spooky stories. There might be even a few sentences. Hee ho, hee ho.
Yes. Hee ho. Alright, this next one is called Dunwich. As Maria cradled her child in her arms and looked at his three-lobed, multicolored iris, complete with a... I don't know what the fuck this is. Complete with a odd-looking membrane, he knew that he took more after his father than her. Ugh. Okay.
Well then,
I see. A
I
mutated
see.
ass baby. I'm gonna have to delve into that later.
That's why it was called Dunwich. Why is Dunwich always the fucking horror place?
I don't fucking know, man. Alright,
Yeah,
this next one
somebody's
is
reading stories,
called
that's what they're
He
doing.
Is- Yes, I'm reading stories. I do this every Thursday. He is a monster is the next one. I know he is watching. I know he admires his handiwork after situations like this. I stand over the recently killed corpse of the dog with tears carving a path down my face. Tears. Jesus.
What the fuck?
He has done this. He loves engineering these situations. He feeds off the emotion and trauma. It's entertainment to him. He is a monster. I know he is watching as I struggle to dig a hole in the sand for the feral dog. It's difficult work, but with only one hand, but that's all I have. He's taken away everything else from me, robbed me from my home, tore me from the arms of my lover, and dismembered me. He made me cut off my own hand or leave it to rot and render me septic. Despite all of this, I know I will survive. I will persevere in the injustices he visits upon me. I wish I could say that it's my desire to survive that drives me forward, but it's not. He goads me on. He wants me to reach the perfect end, his ideal ending. We have souls. We feel everything. He's a monster. Travis sat back and rubbed at his stubble. The story had a good premise, but it faltered on the conclusion. Could really use more of an emotional impact. Maybe the next draft would turn out better. He stretched and began to think of other ways to make the story even more emotional and visceral. He sat back down and continued typing. Oh, I like that one. I like that one a lot. The premise of the story character that you're writing for being conscious. Oh my god, that's fucked.
Yeah, it is.
Oh boy. All right, this one is titled a little more simply just Monsters. Tucking my son in for the night, he asked me if monsters were real. I lied and told him they weren't. I spent the rest of the night crying and rubbing the six. For moral reasons, I am actually going to cut that story there. I'll tell Sleep about it later, and he'll understand why.
Alright.
Alright, this one instead is called A Goodbye Letter. I'm sorry that I have to write this out instead of telling you myself, but after reading this letter, I hope you'll understand why I'm doing this. We've been together for a long time, but given what's happening lately, I'm not too sure I can stick around for much longer. You've changed. I mean that sincerely. When we started out, you were innocent. You were naive. Not in a bad sense. Your naivety showed potential. You could be anything. You had promise. You wanted to become something amazing. Instead of that, I could only watch in horror as you slowly devolved. Started off innocently enough. Showed disregard for animals around you. At first, I thought that was a tick of your personality, but it grew into something much, much worse. Your cruelty expanded to those around you. You quickly displayed an utter discontempt for the people around you. It was almost as if they meant nothing to you. I think that disturbed me the most. To be honest, that's not why I'm leaving. The fact that you followed a path I didn't like wasn't the trigger. The reason why I'm leaving is because you are going down this dark and cruel, and you haven't reached the end. With your potential to change and grow, I'm scared for you. I don't know how deep your capacity for cruelty is, and I don't want to know if it extends to me. I'm scared of you. So this is goodbye. Signed, Yahweh. Ooh, that's really fucked, because, I don't know if you, Sleep, know this, or even chat knows this. Yahweh is the true name of God.
Yeah, I
So
know that
this
one.
is God speaking to man. Ooh, that's fucked. That's so fucked. I like that though. I like that. I love the horror stuff that involves God being afraid of us, of mankind. It's really nice. It's really funny too. Oh boy. Okay. Fucking, we don't have too much more time here, so I will jam in some more stories. This one is called Jolene.
Jolene.
I heard him whimper. Dolly Parton fans, please calm yourselves. When I heard him whimper her name in his sleep, I couldn't take it anymore. I made sure he'd never be able to make love to her ever again with my pocket knife. How was I supposed to know that Jolene was the name of his sister who died in an accident back when he was still a child? Oof, that's rough.
What?
That's
What
fucking
the
rough.
fuck?
Yeah. Okay, so this person fucking dismembered this guy, literally, and fucking only realized afterwards that Jolene was bro's little sister that passed away in an accident when he was still a kid. Holy, that's messed up.
Ow. What the
Jealousy
fuck?
never pays, people. It takes a true art of yonderism to pull off jealousy correctly.
Dickers.
Alright.
Gee Willikers, Batman.
Little agua break, everyone. Drink your water.
Agua fresco.
Oh, dude, I got hell of a things to say about agua
Thank
fresca.
you for
Don't
the
even get me
follow,
started.
Cutie Pop. How you doing?
Thank you for the follow. I'm glad you're enjoying my stories.
Yes, we don't have
Alright,
much time
this-
left, so we got a few more stories to go.
This one is called Words, Words, Words. I have to take this nice and slow. I have to choose my words carefully. I don't want to make this worse for me. Something's happened this past week to the way we talk. I don't know what's causing it or how it's happening. I only know that it's killing people. Innocuous phrases, figures of speech, colloquialisms, and hyperboles are becoming literal, with disastrous results. Most people have stopped talking, but that approach is not helping anymore. The first victim was Old Man Gnome. He was a talker. He loved to ramble on with old stories and local urban legends to anyone who would listen. It was when he started a conversation with a college student who was too nice to walk away that it happened. Gnome was rambling on about the time he found the Jersey Devil in his backyard. At the crescendo of his long-winded story, he said those fateful words.
I'll answer you soon.
He said that he was besides himself with shock at finding the legendary cryptid in Spokane when it happened. Gnome screamed in agony as he was attacked by some invisible force that ripped him in two at the waist. The student could only watch in horror as the bisected man clutched desperately at his severed lower half while he bled out as if he could reattach himself somehow. The people who witnessed Gnome's death called the police, who promptly took the student into custody so he could be interrogated for the possible murder. They changed the boy out of his bloodstained clothes and gave him a gray prison jumper. They interrogated him for 5 hours before the stress, lights, and questions broke him. In his frustration, he said something about how the uncomfortable jumper was killing him. The jumper then constricted so tight around him. He flailed around the room, trying to tear the attacking clothes off, but they were too tight and coiled around him closely. The police officers could only watch as his jumper shrunk to the point of crushing his bones and organs until the student died. When they cut the clothes off of him to make sense of what had happened, they found that the seams of the prison jumper had actually cut into him, bruised him in places, and completely compressed his lungs into a pulpy mess. It didn't take long for people to make the connection between their words and the results. Many stopped talking, but few spoke out on how to protect yourself from this phenomenon. They explained that it only affects the speaker. You can't kill other people with your words, except in certain situations. One woman joked with a friend that she always assumed she would go out with a bang. The resulting explosion killed 4, crippled 1, and severely burned 5 people. Your words always turn against you. One man boasted that he wanted to, quote, die drowning in pussy, and found himself swarmed and smothered by a horde of oddly clingy cats. It's gotten worse. It's no longer restricted to spoken word. It's spread onto written messages. I was texting with a friend, trying to understand what was happening, when he, always the defeatist, said he was screwed 6 ways till Sunday due to his tendency to talk. From what I hear, he died of severe exhaustion, dehydration, and physical shock after... Good grief! From what I hear, he died of severe exhaustion, dehydration, and physical shock after removing his genitals with a pair of scissors and using them on himself. Good
What
grief.
the fuck?
Soon it'll spread to our thoughts and then we're all dead. I'm writing this because I am dying. Slower than the others, but dying nonetheless. I just wanted it to end the nicest way possible. I said it, I wanted to die with a smile on my face. I thought that would be harmless. Dying happy. It didn't work. Please, let me die. My face is paralyzed in a grin. I can't eat, I can't talk, I can't even scream in agony at this perpetual smile burning my muscles. I just want this to end. And that was the collection of short horror stories written by MT Real Invective. Wow,
What the fuck?
Pretty much almost all of them were fucking bangers, dude. Goodness gracious.
Pretty much. But yeah, unfortunately, but I don't remember Akakuno name. I don't remember that name. I don't know how long it's been since you've last been here, but I don't remember that name at all. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, I probably wasn't around for that time. Apologies.
Yeah, it's been so long and everything else that I just do not remember that name. I just don't remember. I'm really sorry.
But regardless, we are very happy to have you back, if that is the case.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yes. All right. Thank you for joining me this week on this episode of the Midnight Zone. Thank you again for your continued support on my love of these scary stories. I will continue to do my best to read these and bring these to life for you guys, to let you be immersed with me while I read these. Stay tuned for next week. We will have our next episode of the Travel Agency, and of course stay tuned for more Sleep streams. They're always fucking banger to watch. And I will have some new stories for you guys next week, but for now I will keep it a secret.
Ooh, this time it's a secret, eh?
So,
Hell yeah.
in the meantime, lock your doors, lock your windows, and make sure you check under your bed.
Exactly. So we will go and raid Shadow Purpley. They are doing some art at the moment, which is kind of
Yeah,
nice.
go show them some love over there.
Hell yeah. I'll be back tomorrow with some more God Eater. I was almost gonna say Binary Domain, but we did that yesterday. It's gonna be God Eater. And then on the weekend, I'm gonna try if I can actually get through Hunter's Companion Rainwolf. Most likely I won't be able to get through that because fuck me, it's tough.
Fuck.
And I don't know what else I'll do. I'll probably just do some random infield or something like that. I do not know, but we'll see it later on. And then next week we start with Binary Domain, Travel Agency, then God Eater,
Midnight Zone, Binary Domain, and then the weekend.
But for now, I'ma head out. Y'all have a wonderful time, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye!
Bye bye, everyone!